were calling for FaZe. They were saying take the best of the best to try to take down Optic, but you can't underestimate a team like Space Station. You can't underestimate these core players. Optic might be next up on the list, but they have to get through Space Station, who has that one game advantage.
Yeah, and this is why you could theoretically put together a team of 4 Lucids or the 4 best players in the league, and it does not guarantee success. Team composition and chemistry, cohesion, communication are much more important than individual skill here in Halo, which is why it's plausible and possible for the likes of SSG to upset this FaZe clan or even Optic Gaming World Championship roster despite all that.
If history repeats itself, 1 month ago in 4K #1, FaZe and Space Station, they met right here on Argyle CTF, and the outcome was a 1-0 victory for Space Station. Could this be them securing their spot in the finals with the upset over FaZe? Only if history repeats itself. Royal 2 might be the difference maker. Half of that sniper ammo left to deal with, but watch out, incoming frags as they try to flush him out of that high ground position.
And I'd be really curious to know what FaZe's record is here on Argyle CTF, because I really think it favors them, right? In a CTF where you need not only 1 slay or team wipe to just pull flag, but you might need 2 or 3 to score. It seems like the edge would go to FaZe clan in a series like that where you expect them to outslay Space Station. So
yeah,
I don't know if history repeats itself. Yes, SSG will win this game, but if the history of slaying repeats itself for FaZe clan, they should win this game and send us to a game 5. It's too hard to tell though, Matt. It's too close.
Mikowski, I'm so sorry. You listened to me so well and I appreciate you, but I was wrong. It was the other way around. It was FaZe with the 1-0 lead. And when you were talking, I remembered because in that win, I called it our Guile. FaZe calls it our Guile. Remember, they possess this map because they are 10-0 on CTF Argyle. So I'm sorry, guys. I gave you misinformation. I had the score backwards. In fact, FaZe, as far as I know, is undefeated in HCS Season 2 when it comes to Argyle. But it was a close game. It was still that 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and on Argyle, that's sometimes all you get. It's like a highly contested soccer match where both teams are playing heavy defense, parking the bus. Sometimes you end up with those 1-0 finishes as we have 1 flag out for SSG. Renegade goes down. 2v2 in the feed for now. SSG with pressure, though, on FaZe.
Look at the stats, though, Mikowski. Like, they could not be more even. The only standout stat that I'm looking at is that Renegade has 3 assists where other players have 1, right? So some nice team fire there from Renegade, but kills left to right are nearly identical, about as close as it could be. Bound is trying to be the difference maker, trying to shake things up here on the side of Space Station. They might remember that 0-1 loss to FaZe clan 1 month ago and trying to flip that script as Bound gets the flag on the move.
Pull number 1, that was to crack the shields. Pull number 2 is to progress on this map. And with Stellar popping off at top mid, taking the slays at the right time, right place, SSG should put their first one on the board. And Magic, when you consider the fact that the last time these two teams played, the entirety of the 15 minutes came down to 1-0 for FaZe. After just 4 minutes, 5 minutes for Space Station, they're up 1-0.
Imagine it, though. FaZe once again find themselves with that mental battle, that fortitude needing to show itself. And you got 4 fierce competitors here on the side of FaZe. What a great crew to do it. But they need to change the outcome of this game here at mid-game. It's going to be hard to do if Stellar keeps lining up snipes like that. He's 7-2 right now.
I just love Stellar's demeanor. And I think you need a guy like Stellar on the team. Regardless of hidden shots, he's just so within himself, right? His reaction to winning a championship is probably the same to losing a championship. And not that you want every guy on the team to be stoic like that, but you need a Stellar. You need a guy who's stoic to really reel things in a sequence, especially in a series like this, Magic, where it's so intense. These games are wild. Coming down to 1 kill, 1 second. You need a Stellar to slow things down, to take that deep collective breath for his team, as that's exactly what we've seen from him here as he's 9-3, ultimately goes down, but it's been the pressure at top mid from Stellar. That's a big reason why SSG is up 1-0.
And it's Renegade who's trying to make a play for that camo, but I think he's aware of Eco, who's giving oversight with the snipe, trying to bait out that camo as he lines out a shot across the map. And it's Royal 2 with the opposing sniper who is taken down. Eco just scoping across the map. Heavily defensive position is enough to keep FaZe at bay. That camo at top mid is bait for whichever team would go for it. But right now it's Snakebite with the sniper picked up off of the dead body of the teammate. Still has to deal with Eco on the other side.
And still has to push out of their base. Now you see Eco and Stellar playing defensively, but they can afford to, right? Up 1-0 on Argyle. That's almost like a 2-0.
And they won camo too.
And they won camo too. So you're going to start to see I think SSG will still continue to push for flags here, Magic, but you're going to see them kind of step back a little bit, bait players like that, as Penguin and the rest of SSG are in full control because of this 1-0 lead.
Penguin and Eco hit headshot snipes at the same time. Both snipes in control of SSG, and they are just being a suppressive force that FaZe Clan can't break out of. The only hope right now for FaZe is that those snipers run out of ammo. You see Bound and Royal 2 in a 1v1. Royal 2 does win for top mid control. Eco might have to watch his back if Royal 2 flanks around behind through that vent. Here comes the fight. Nearly hits on the sticky, but Royal 2 just won back-to-back crucial slays. Space Station go 3 down.
All right, and this is a chance for FaZe Clan right here. Got to push past the mid map, and my goodness, if you're Renegade and you could steal a sniper that would likely be in the hands of Bound instead, that's a massive win condition here for FaZe, as they should in fact have a pullout. Royal 2 running it down the opposite side of Snipe, so that's going to open up Renegade to rotate back to Snipe, but he's actually going to maybe even push a little further back and instead bait the Snipe. I love this play here from Renegade. Goes down, but I think he opened up enough time and space to potentially let Royal 2 sneak through, as he does in fact. Just a couple yards, a couple seconds is all they needed, and SSG now potentially looking at a tie if Royal 2 can put this in. And he does.
Oh, I had to hold my breath right there. The flag tossed out to the 99-yard line. Penguin had the shot lined up, but sliding through comes the capture from Royal 2. Royal 2 was absolutely the right player from FaZe to get that capture, because he was the one winning slay after crucial slay to move the distance of the map. In fact, Royal 2 is having a great run. It's only going to be stopped if Penguin can continue his own momentum.
Penguin throwing snipes like he's throwing hands there at close quarter combat. Eventually goes down, but most importantly, the pressure for SSG remains on FaZe despite previously scoring. Usually on a map like Argyle, Magic, you got to use a ton of resources to score. You expect almost to give back up that map control, but instead it's SSG who look equally up to the fight for mid-map, but you got Renegade there with the grapple as well, so he's got some movement options to work with as well.
The grapple can be used for movement. It can be used to snag that camo and stay in cover. But you got to deal with Royal 2. I'm going to keep saying it, 14-9, but the slays that make the difference. A lot of it has been set up by teammates, who you see both Frosty and Renegade with a good number of assists. Obviously, it's the team play here from FaZe that's going to get them back in this game, but not if FaZe can shut it down. Winning that kill, and Stellar looks untouched as he picks up that sniper, now looking to put it to work for SSG.
This is how SSG scored their first flag, with Stellar in the mid-map popping off with Snipe. Could have potentially went on a run there, but the focused fire from Penguin makes sure that he cannot, or excuse me, from FaZe, make sure that Stellar cannot go on the run that we saw earlier with the Snipe, as both Snipes are now up once again. Only 4 minutes left.
Now, Stellar versus Royal 2, like that's the matchup, and here it is, the dueling snipers, both of them leading their teams on the stat line, and the Bound is here in the mix as well. It's not going to be a straight up isolated 1v1 as it rarely is, especially on a map as open as Argyle. Stellar takes the high ground. He's looking, he's trying to find this takedown. And now we have a nice defensive stop here from Space Station, but it's different than what we saw in the early game. They're not holding defense to hold on to the lead. They're holding defense to try to stabilize in order to mount their own push.
Stellar able to retain that sniper rifle. You Bound with a sniper rifle. This is looking dangerous for the likes of FaZe Clan when you got the fact that 2 sniper scopes are going to be staring directly at your forehead off spawn. As Renegade goes down, that should start the push here for SSG, but almost wonder if they're going to play a little careful here, knowing that they can't afford to lose these snipers, and they might just as Bound down to no shields. He gets a repulsor, keeps him alive for a moment, but eventually goes down to Frosty, but you have Stellar there to potentially pick it up.
Stellar needs to clutch up right here because Space Station is down in numbers. He has the sniper at the ready. What a player to ice up. Royal 2, the icy player from the opposing side, peeks that corner, baits out a shot. It was a distraction because Snakebite flanked around for the backsmash.
Should see a pull here. 3 go down for SSG. Snakebite with feverish pace pulls that flag out, already has it to the quarter mark. Eco a little bit in a blender when you see a player look left, look front, look back. Not quite exactly sure where this FaZe Clan roster is. He knows where the flag is, but he's got to take down these members of FaZe first because the defense is too strong as they do just that. Great answer here from SSG. Despite the setup and the pull from FaZe, they're going to stop this one and keep it tied with just over 2 to go.
And not just keep it tied, but they have the opportunity for a counter pull. 4 go down for FaZe. Eco has the last round of that snipe, trying to provide some cover for them to get that counter flag run. But it's going to be a trade of kills. The flag's already past the halfway mark. It's Stellar once again, holding on to mid-ground control. Penguins at the home stretch for the capture.
That should do it. And look at this, Eco setting up in the FaZe base. I don't even think he wants to get a pull here. He just wants to be a nuisance. He might even, don't be surprised if you see him turn around and grab that snipe and throw it off the map as Space Station is now in the driver's seat with this 2-1 lead. A minute and a half to go on Argyle. It's a pretty strong, convincing lead when you're looking at the entire landscape of this match.
And you just have to think that FaZe right now are like that emote in the chat, but not like this, kind of holding their head. Not like this do they get their first loss on CTF Argyle. But the flag is on the run. It's halfway through. Penguin hits another snipe, and it's looking desperate for FaZe as just a minute and change left on the clock. Is this where they find their first loss on CTF Argyle and also lose out on the winners finals?
It's the dueling strategy, Magic. FaZe, remember, they scored first. They kind of stepped back a little bit. They started playing heavy defense. Here, SSG scores one, not one, scores two to take the lead, and they continue pulling flags. So it goes to show FaZe wanting to lean in on their defense, SSG wanting to use their offense as defense. Just as 3 go down, though, for SSG. This is the final hope. This is maybe even the final chance for FaZe to avoid elimination in the upper bracket.
Frosty gets that flag pull, but it was off of Renegade's cheeky flank and the double kill, but it's matched by the double kill from Stellar. Now it's Royal 2 picking up the flag, hoping that the respawners get back in time to provide some cover. 22 seconds on the clock. Here comes Eco, potentially for the reset. Picks up those 2 frags, has sights on the Royal 2, but he's caught in the sights of Snakebite and Frosty.
Snakebite has to stay alive here. You could argue the same for every single member of FaZe Clan, as Royal 2 does with 1 HP in a dream. One flag separating these 2 teams, and a sudden death about to ensue.
Sudden death is on the clock. You see that pie chart. Here comes Renegade trying to help with the flag maneuver, but as he's taken down, Bound gets a kill on the other side. Time is running out. There's no one from FaZe that are in range, and that's going to be too much for FaZe to handle. Their first loss on CTF Argyle, and it drops them from reaching the winners finals. SSG steal their spot.